So my response to the budget for 2024, it's an interesting thing because really from an average investor perspective, it actually did absolutely nothing. It was neither good nor bad. There was nothing in it for you, absolutely nothing. So realistically, if it passed you by and you never think of it again, it's going to have virtually zero impact. Now, sure, if you're paying UK tax, the big one was the NI, getting another 2 cents off that. Great, fantastic. And that does add up. But in terms of an investor, it makes no difference. Now, if you're a developer, if you buy multiple blocks, if you're doing sort of holiday homes, then yes, it does have an effect. But, the reality is, for the most part, and what it is doing from my perspective, actually, I think is going to be an interesting one, is everything up until now for the previous about 8 years has been about making it easier for corporations and big companies to actually trade freely and actually have an advantage over an individual or individuals buying in their own name. And so that plays into the build to rent. But this is the first time where actually the build to rent has had a bit of a left hook. And really, it's one of these things where now, if they're buying multiples, they're going to have to pay individual stamp duty on each, which is quite a big change. And that could make it, already that industry is struggling a little bit because it's kind of like, well, hold on a sec. There's so much regulation going on, so much unknown. Look, this all comes down to the government being absolutely incompetent. At every level, they are totally incompetent. And you know what? Originally, I used to think that it was because they were handing it over to the big corporations. And I used to think that it was because they were, making the environment bad for individuals and good for large corporates. But now I think it is that they are just totally incompetent, knee-jerk reaction, ill thought out, sway with the wind policies, And this is the problem when you have crappy policies. I've always been told, in leadership that a good leader makes their decisions quickly and changes them slowly. Poor leaders make their decisions slowly and change them quickly. And this is the stereotypical thing of this government. And in fact, it's not just this government, it's many governments around the world. Politics really has turned to crap recently, in the last decade. But anyway, that's got a bit off track. The budget, there's nothing to actually look at. So if you're working with us, building your portfolio, let it go by. There's nothing to it. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Give me your thoughts. If you think there's something different in there's something that is amazing for investors, which I'm pretty sure there's not, or terrible for investors, then fine. But I think unless you're developing and you're buying multiple properties, then the stamp duty comes into play. They didn't really give anything away. For me, it wasn't even really an election budget. I don't know what it was. It just felt like it was a, let's try and lead with this 2 cents and national insurance, and the rest just really didn't. There was capital gains in there, 4%. 4% really is not that big a change. It doesn't really change that much. So for me, that's not a big deal. But anyway, yeah, guys, like, subscribe, and let's hear your comments. See you later.